I wake up to the sounds of the silence that allows for my mind to run around and my ear up to the ground. I'm searching to behold the stories that I told when my back is to the world that was smiling when I turned.
End zone is going to be a touchdown again.
Everybody wants to be my enemy. Smell the sympathy. Everybody
Under pressure, gets away, gets rid of it, and a touchdown, Argos.
my enemy. I swear I'll never be a slave. Look out for yourself.
For the first time this season, we head to BMO Field as Argo fans finally get a chance to cheer on their new-look team. They had a lot of success here last season, 6-1. It's Toronto, Montreal kicking off week 2 in the CFL as we say hello, Canada. Welcome to 7-11 Thursday Night Football on TSN. My name is Kate Burness. This is Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel. Cannot wait for this one to go down at BMO. Matt, we've made so much in the pregame about the new additions for the Toronto Argos. I would assume this is what you are watching for tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start right in the middle of that offensive line because Peter Nicastro, starting center for the Argonauts, is out. And you got Justin Lawrence in there, and he's going up against Sewell, Moore, and Wakefield, and that's in the middle of the field. And you want Andrew Harris to get off to a good start. It's going to happen right there to see if Justin Lawrence can hold his own with those three big boys on him all night.
Quick question for everyone. Over-under on Andrew Harris and Banks having 150 yards total from the line of scrimmage. Over-under. Combined.
Oh, I'm taking over.
You're taking over. You're taking over.
Yeah.
50, I go under.
You go under.
Yeah.
Because I think if they have over, they'll have a big impact on this game. I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I talked to Shane Ray, defensive end, during the preseason, and he said definitively, if he's healthy, he'll have over 20 sacks. And that's
20 sacks.
I love that. I love that.
Wow. He's a believer in himself.
Mindset.
So if that's the case, and he's been here for a year now, so he feels comfortable. Let's see if it's him and Jagarrett.
Right.
They both have good years. Watch
That's
out.
40 sacks
You know
between the
Jagarrett's
two.
going to get his. and it's
So
gonna
he
free
wasn't
up
healthy
Shane.
last year? Is that what he's saying?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But how many defensive ends think they're going to get 20 sacks? Probably a lot. Probably a lot. Yeah.
Going into a season? Oh, yeah. I'm getting 22 all day. And as you said,
50 touchdowns as a quarterback, too, right?
Yeah. And as you said, too, Milt, VA's got to have a big game on the opposite side after Montreal dropped their opener and lost Williams stand-back. Argos onto the field at BMO for the first time this season. We'll get you to Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford right after this.
Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Smell the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Look out for yourself. My enemy. Look out for yourself.
Fleck of Vancouver, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save On Foods' $1 Million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Christina. As promised, here is Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford.
And as promised, Kate Burness, I'm not one to complain about hot weather, but it is hot and steamy tonight in the city of Toronto. 32 degrees Celsius for this, the Argos season opener at home to start week 2 against the Montreal Alouettes from BMO Field on the shores of Lake Ontario. Well, you heard a lot. Dwayne Ford talked a lot about Andrew Harris, one of the new additions to the Argos in the pregame show. One of several new additions. Running back for both sides, Dwayne, is a big story in this game tonight. Let's start with Harris, who felt like Winnipeg didn't want him after all those great years anymore. He feels he still has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, and I love this matchup. You've got two Canadian running backs at very different points in their career. Andrew Harris obviously has done just about everything there is to do in this league. Over 5,000 yards for his hometown Winnipeg Blue Bombers, approaching 10,000 for his career. And then you've got Jeshrin Antwi in his second Canadian football season. He gets his first real opportunity to hold down the starting job for an extended period of time. He wants to try and lock that down with William Stanback out of the lineup and make sure that the Alouettes aren't missing the East Division's most outstanding player too much during his absence.
There is a former Toronto Argonaut, the only team he's known, Chandler Worthy, a new addition to the Alouettes. He and Darius Pickett are back to receive the kick. The Alouettes won the toss. They want the ball to start. So let's watch some CFL football and begin week 2 off the foot of Boris Beatty, underway at BMO Field, and it comes down to the ex-Argo Worthy on the return, and he gets it up across the 25, about the 27, taken down there after a 15-yard return by Brandon Calvert.
Well, there you see Vernon Adams, big play VA, looking to make things happen for the Montreal Alouettes this evening. You see his numbers from week 1 versus Calgary. Got off to a rough start in that one with an interception out of the gate, but settled in nicely. Had that Alouettes offense clicking.
He really did. After the Mike Rose pick in their first possession, things got moving. Had a beautiful running touchdown, hurdling his way in. They barely lost, 30-27. Came down to a late field goal by the Stampeders. So game 2 also on the road for the Owls, with Adams giving to Jess Renacqui, who was thrown into the fire after an injury to William Stanback in the first half at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Let's meet the Montreal offense now. The starting lineups brought to you by Expedia.
Yeah, taking a look at this offensive line at right tackle, you've got Landon Rice, who had a nice season last year, named an East Division All-Star, University of Manitoba product. Of course, Gino Lewis, over 100 yards in week 1, including a highlight reel hurdle for him. We'll keep an eye on Gino in that receiving corps tonight.
Few hurdles last week at McMahon. Hardly any gain at all. Second and long. Call it 9 for Adams under pressure. Sean Oakman nearly had him, and the Argos do ultimately take him down. It is Dwayne Hendricks in there to finish things off. So 2 and out for Montreal. They'll have to kick it away.
Sean Oakman originally collapsing the pocket. Hendricks following up for this Toronto Argonaut defensive line. Keep an eye on Big Oakman from his defensive tackle spot in his second Canadian Football League season, collapsing things down. He has a shot at Vernon Adams, turns him back inside, allowing Hendricks to collect the sack.
Javon Leake is back to receive this punt for the Argos. Joseph Zima standing at his 10. Toronto will get the ball for the first time this season, and a good catch on that punt. Looked a little dangerous there, but good hands by Leake to take it after a 41-yard punt, and good field position for McLeod Bethel Thompson to work with on this first Toronto possession.
And the thing that stands out when you look at the numbers for McLeod Bethel Thompson in 2021, 7 wins, 2 losses. Most people came into last season expecting Nick Arbuckle to emerge as the starting quarterback in Toronto. But I'll tell you what, Macbeth is a survivor throughout his football career, and most recently here in the Canadian Football League.
This really is the first time, despite all his starts with the Argos, he's the undisputed number 1. And he hands off to Andrew Harris. They love the future Hall of Famer downhill running, and he picks up a couple of yards there. The second down Toronto, the Argo offense.
Yeah, and of course, lots of talk about Andrew Harris, but you heard Matt Dunnigan mention in the pregame Justin Lawrence at center, the former Calgary Stampeder. Look for him to be a physical mauler in the middle. And Harris, not the only veteran coming over in the offseason on offense. Brandon Banks makes his double blue debut after years down the highway in Hamilton.
Bethel Thompson looking off to his left, and he completes that pass to Harris. So 2 touches for Harris and a first down for Toronto. A 4-yard carry and then a bigger gain through the air as they get him in space, and Toronto's on the move down to the Montreal 40.
Yeah, and this run after the catch, he's got a free release after the out of the backfield, but this run after the catch demonstrates exactly one of the elements that the Toronto Argonauts look for Andrew Harris to bring to their mix, and that's that physical presence, physical mindset. And the hope is that that'll rub off on the rest of the offense and the rest of the football team as a whole.
21 yards already for Harris. Has the ball in his hands again. 3 Argonaut plays, all 3 to Andrew Harris, and a gain of 5, second down. How about that Montreal defense?
Yeah, we'll take a look. Mike Moore, former member of the Edmonton Elks, comes over to join Elmondo Sewell in the middle of that defensive line. Darius Pickett playing the Sam linebacker spot, had a big week in week one, now in his second Canadian Football League season. We'll keep an eye on another sophomore player, former University de Montreal Carabin, Marc-Antoine Bicois at free safety. Terrific athlete.
2nd and 5 after the Harris carry. Harris again. And gets up near and should have another first down. Boy, they're putting him to work right away, aren't they? As he gets inside the Alouette 30.
Yeah, Argos definitely making sure they get their money's worth out of their big free agent acquisition. Early here, pounding the rock with Andrew Harris, and obviously it's having a positive effect as you see where he stands in the Canadian Football League's all-time rushing list.
Certainly should get to 10,000 and some. Chasing Charles Roberts next on the list for the top 5. What a career by Andrew Harris. 5, as mentioned, great years in Winnipeg, including back-to-back Grey Cup championships, 19 and 21. And for the first time, the Argos have a play that doesn't involve Andrew Harris. It is Ann Adetoboye, the rookie, taken in the 2nd round of the 2022 draft.
Yeah, Adetoboye, local guy, had a terrific combine, played his career at Bryant University. And this is a young man who's really looked up to Andrew Harris, as you can imagine, as a Canadian running back looking to make his way at what has historically been an American-dominated position.
He picks up 3, 2nd and 7, the 25. Bethel Thompson finds an open receiver. Tavares Daniels spins away from Chris Aki, and he gets taken down just inside the 10. See where they mark it. It will be a 1st and goal for the Argos.
Yeah, a nice quick hitter and a confident start here for the Toronto Argonauts. You get a couple run plays with Andrew Harris to get things going, and I think that slows down the defensive line a little bit, allows McLeod Bethel Thompson to settle in and go to work, as demonstrated there with that pass to Tavares Daniels.
Impressive opening drive for Ryan Dinwiddie's offense, the 7th play of it. They're inside the Alouette 10. 1st and goal, dumping it off to the right, and that one is too far for the intended receiver, Brandon Banks. 2nd down.
Yeah, Argos emptied it out there, going with 6 receivers, free releasing the back. So you recognize in protection that Bethel Thompson was going to have to get rid of that one in a little bit of a hurry, just off the mark.
The most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League in 2019 with the Ticats, of course, Brandon Banks, with over 1,500 yards receiving. 2nd and goal. Argos. Bethel Thompson looks into the end zone. Pickett. Mike Jones is there. Intercepted. Montreal right to Mike Jones. And Adarius Pickett was in the area as well, so they moved down the field. And frustration for McLeod Bethel Thompson after a very impressive drive. They come up with nothing. Cam Phillips was the intended receiver. It goes into the hands of Montreal's Mike Jones.
Well, there you see Mike Jones, who thought he had the pick on the play. Kind of only man in the area, but keep an eye here as he comes down. He ends up trapping that football, never really had control of it.
The Alouettes lining up, their offense is out there, lining up over the ball.
The interception was reviewed by the command center, and it was ruled to be an incomplete pass. It will be Toronto ball, 3rd down.
We'll take a look back again. There you see Jones going up to get the ball, but he gets hit by the receiver, Cam Phillips, and that jars him just enough that he's unable to secure it before he comes down. You can see the ball kind of loose on the bottom. Jones forced to trap it as he goes to the turf.
So a good break for the Argos as that interception is overturned by Jones. So yeah, the offense had been standing out there ready to run a play. They head off. Special team units are in now for Boris Beatty, ex-Alouette in his 2nd year now with the Argos. And just a short one now of about 17 yards for the first points of this game. Up and through it goes into the north end zone here at BMO Field. So instead of a turnover and Alouette ball, the Argos are able to finish off the drive with a field goal. 3-0 Toronto.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by 7-Eleven, where you get fast 24/7 delivery on game day, including Slurpee drinks.
Just under 9 minutes to go in this first quarter. The Argonauts, with a 17-yard field goal by Boris Beatty, lead it. The Alouettes starting at their 40, and the whistles blow before the ball is snapped. That offense is hoping to run a play, thinking they had the interception, had to run off. The field goal was kicked.
Montreal number 55. 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
And the right tackle, Landon Rice, is called for procedure. And so that pushes them 5 further back. A 1st and 15 now from the 35.
A good matchup between these two lines right out of the gate.
Adams with a flag out. Looked like a bit of movement on the line. That's completed to Reggie White up across the 40.
Yeah, it looked like Shane Ray, who was lined up in front of Landon Rice that time, might have twitched a little bit early.
Offside, Toronto, number 5. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So it goes right back to the original line of scrimmage at the 40, and another 1st and 10 now for the Alouettes.
Head coach Kahari Jones, of course, former star quarterback here in the Canadian Football League, and putting some of his knowledge in that context to work in his teachings of his now veteran QB, Vernon Adams Jr.
They have worked well together. Play action fake to Antwi, dumping it off to Regis Sibasu, formerly a fullback, now a receiver for the Alouettes, and just picks up a couple of yards from Montreal.
Yes, Sibasu, University of Montreal product, who was originally drafted by the Toronto Argonauts. So we take a look at this Toronto Argonaut defense. Of course, keep an eye on Jagarrett Davis. Moved over from Hamilton in free agency. Winton McManus comes from Calgary. He'll take over that weak side linebacker spot. Royce Metchie, he and Deshaun Amos, a couple of more additions from Calgary. 4 former Stampeders in that Toronto Argonaut secondary.
So a 2nd and 8 from the Montreal 42, down by 3, off to the left, and the intended receiver, Keon Julian Grant. The coverage there by Tavares McFadden. It is incomplete, and Montreal will have to punt it away again.
Yeah, Tavares McFadden, one of the newcomers in the Toronto Argonauts secondary. It's a guy who was once named the top defensive back in NCAA football. Big-bodied corner.
Out of Florida State, 1st year playing, technically his 2nd season, signed by the Argos last November. Punting it away is Zima. And back to get it now is Leak, who has to run back and take it on the hop inside his 15. Javon Leak met there by Alexander Gagne and Terrell Richards. Down at the 15, so a good switch of the field for the Alouettes. Argo football leading by 3. One of the newcomers, a veteran, coming over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Brandon Banks. And this was last night, the CN Tower, known for going with lighting themes in honor of the Argos in their season opener. And looking at the tower, we talk about great heights for those, actually all with ties to Toronto. 6,000 yards return, at least 6,000 from scrimmage, and all with ties to the Argos now with Pinball Clemens. Look at the all-purpose yardage. Chad Owens, of course, some great years for Toronto. Now Brandon Banks was over 13,000 yards if you combine his return yardage. Reaching good heights, and I like the equivalent of how many times the tower that is, too. Look at Andrew Harris hurtling his way after a big run. What an introduction to the Argos he's had. A gain of 16 for 33, double blue and a 1st down.
So the question was asked when Andrew Harris signed with the Toronto Argonauts this year. Great player, but how much does he have left in those legs? You know, I know it's the Argos' first game of the year, but I think the question's been answered.
Tell you what, I'm counting hurdles so far this season. You get Vernon last week, Eugene Lewis, Kean Schaefer-Baker tried one. You get Andrew Harris now, and that one straight up for a few tough yards for the Argos on that first down play, and that's Andrew Harris again.
Yeah, so Andrew Harris and Brandon Banks, opponents in the last two Grey Cups. You go back to 2019, of course, both big award winners in the Canadian Football League as well. I think the Argos certainly hoping that that both these guys can channel 19 a little bit here in 22.
2nd and 7, Argos. Second possession at their 35, complete for a first down. Curly Gittins on the receiving end for the first time in 2022 after a breakout 2021.
Well, Bethel Thompson gets good protection there. You see he's got a nice throwing lane, and you've got Curly Gittins working back into an open window to pick up that first down. Gittins coming off a nice sophomore season with the Toronto Argonauts in 2021.
He had one catch in his rookie year 2019. Last year, 50 catches for 605 yards, 4 touchdowns as well for the Ottawa native. Third year at a Wilfrid Laurier. Andrew Harris breaks it off to the right a bit on that first down. Toronto starting from their 45. They were back inside their 20 to start this drive.
Yeah, when you combine this with their first drive, the Argos do a nice job moving the football. And you can see, as expected, Andrew Harris has been an absolute workhorse in that.
Lots of yardage racked up already. As said, this is their second possession. .40 on the ground, 6 carries for 40 yards, longest 17 for Andrew Harris. Passing here, Bethel Thompson. Oh, it's intercepted. This one is a pick. And a big one for Darius Williams, who will take it back all the way. Touchdown, Alouettes. And despite the dominance by the Argos, it's Montreal with the lead. And we'd like to welcome our viewers on TSN's 3 and 4. We have our first touchdown of this Thursday night game in Toronto, and it goes to the Alouette defense and Darius Williams.
Yeah, Darius Williams, a newcomer in that Montreal secondary. So that one pops up off the hand of DeVaris Daniels. Williams comes up with it, and you kind of knew this one was going back the other way, as there were 4 Alouettes all together ready to start the convoy the moment that ball was caught.
Darius Williams, formerly of the Edmonton Elks, and he came over and got this starting job tonight after an injury to Greg Reed last week in Calgary, making the most of his chance.
Here you see the tipped ball. Williams comes up with the grab. His knee is down when he's touched.
So is he down? Should he be down?
So this one, reasonable chance we could see this one ruled down by contact. No touchdown, but it would, of course, be Alouette's ball still.
The Alouettes thought they had an interception earlier in this game, which was overruled.
After the interception, the player was down with contact.
So let's look at this again. The word from Dave Foxcroft. Have another look.
So you want to watch for 2 things here as Williams catches the ball and goes to the turf. There you see the left knee is down, and you see Daniel's hand is in contact with him. That is enough to constitute down by contact. So Alouette's ball, but no TD.
Last time the Alouettes thought they had a pick. They didn't. This time they do get the pick, but they don't get the touchdown by Darius Williams. So instead they will scrimmage just inside Argo territory at the Toronto 53. But they do get that interception by Darius Williams. It's been tough going for this Alouette offense so far in this first quarter. Taking the handoff to Antwi as Vernon Adams takes off under pressure. Royce Metchie in, and then ends up chasing him out of bounds. It's after a gain of about 10 yards and enough for a first down for Montreal. Their first down in this ball game.
And somewhat classic Vernon Adams here as things break down in terms of the protection. He's under pressure, but still able to turn this into a positive play. using those wheels of his.
We've seen him do that a time or two. Saw it last week several times against the Stampeders. From the Toronto 43. This time it's Jeshrin Antwi, who's mentioned came in late in the first half in Calgary last week after William Stanback suffered a fractured ankle and is now on the 6th game. And Antwi shortly after busted off a big 70-yard run. But talk about embracing the opportunity, Dwayne. 7 carries, 98 yards, and he had more through the air as well.
Yeah, and of course that 70-yarder in the second quarter, the big one. But this is a young man, you know, not a high draft pick, right? Like not a guy who is sort of being given every opportunity to make the team. He went out and earned it.
It is 2nd and 3, faking to Antwi. Adams takes off. He won't get the first down. Adams, after that play fake, gets maybe a foot or two. It's right at the Toronto 35, and it'll be a 3rd down, and on comes the field goal team with David Cote. So the interception and the following plays allows them to get into scoring position at least after having a touchdown called back. Cote last week 2 for 3. His longest was 26. He had one blocked as well by Mike Rhodes. This one, a 43-yard try for the product of Laval. Cote hooks it in to tie the game. After the turnover, Montreal gets on the board. 7-11 Thursday Night Football on TSN. Andrew Harris had 5 very good or great years in Winnipeg, culminating with a couple of Grey Cups. But look at the yardage he accumulated, over 5,400 in those 5 seasons, and he got a warm welcome. He didn't feel wanted in Winnipeg anymore, Matthew Shinetti, but he got a warm welcome in Toronto.
Absolutely, Rod. It was what the Clemens family always does, a little road trip. Michael Pinball Clemens got Andrew Harris from the airport, and he drove him around Toronto, wanted to show him the city and also explain the history of the Toronto Argonauts, 17 Grey Cup championships, the oldest professional football franchise in North America. And Harris says he didn't know that. And then, well, as they're driving, Andrew Harris is learning about the city. He starts to get tired, and, well, the general manager says, listen, just have a little bit of a nap. I'll take you to your hotel, a boss and a chauffeur. Harris appreciated it, guys.
And Matthew, I said, didn't feel welcome. Of course, he treasured Winnipeg's his hometown, but just didn't feel like the Bombers wanted him anymore. Age 35, with a couple of younger Canadian backs. And that story, you can be sure, will come up later when the Argos face Winnipeg.
All right, here's a little pregame greeting between general manager and his prized acquisition. Quick hello and good luck wishes, no doubt. You know, Andrew Harris told us, yeah, you know, Pinball's playing days were coming to an end just as Andrew was starting to get into football. He said that was around 8th grade for him, but certainly very much an awareness of the significance of Mike Pinball Clemens in this league.
McLeod Bethel Thompson under pressure. Nick Usher chasing him and pushing him out of bounds. But a gain of 7 for Bethel Thompson. And enough for a first down, Toronto.
Yeah, and I like seeing this from McLeod Bethel Thompson, not a guy who is known necessarily as a guy who makes a lot of plays with his legs, but you know, I mean, this is decision making, playing on a field that's 65 yards wide. Sometimes as a quarterback, when that contain breaks down defensively, you're going to have an opportunity to move the sticks by doing just what he did.
Up at the Argo 52, their last possession ended in an interception by Darius Williams. They've moved the ball well. And this is Javon Leake, another one of the newcomers. Went to school in Maryland and picks up a couple of yards.
Yeah, a little counter off sprint pass action there, getting Javon Leake involved. So we've seen both Dan Adebaboye and Javon Leake getting some reps in that Toronto Argonaut backfield. You know, I suspect that as much as we're going to see Andrew Harris be the workhorse, you know, there will be times that they look to share the load, share the workload a little bit.
He's certainly had a lot of work so far in his debut. Under pressure, getting away, completing that to Tavares Daniels with Wesley Sutton all over him.
Yes. Watching this play from above, I saw a number of white jerseys burst through the line right away. Guys are coming through, and I'm anticipating that this was going to be a screen pass, actually, based on the way that the pressure got through right away, but it was really just kind of a breakdown in protection, but great poise from McLeod Bethel Thompson there. Never flinched, stood in there, made a nice, accurate throw.
So third and more than a yard here now. Some movement along the line as the Argos do go for it on third down just inside the Alouette 50. But we're showing that they were going for it.
Toronto, number 4. 5-yard penalty remains third down.
So just taking the time count, pushing them a little further back to punt it away and coming just at the end of the first quarter. After this play, Chandler Worthy. He had a big day, 9 catches, had a touchdown against Montreal in their meeting here at BMO last year for Toronto. Got one from McLeod Bethel Thompson. And the punter, notice it's not Boris Beattie. The punting duties this year, Australian John Haggerty. Went to Western Kentucky. Native of Sydney, Australia, to punt it away here at the end of this first quarter. Gets a good roll, but doesn't get out of bounds what he wanted, so Worthy gets his hands on it. And that's heads into the end zone for another point for the Argos, who narrowly take the lead on that play after 15 minutes with the single. Argos 4, Alouettes 3. Andrew Harris, big start with his new team. First quarter stats, the Argos have the better offensive numbers by far, but not the points to show for it. And a near interception in the end zone and a field goal, Dwayne, and then later they were picked off.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, I think when you're the Toronto Argonauts offensively, and particularly when you've gone out and made some significant acquisitions offensively, obviously Andrew Harris being first and foremost among those, but another guy in terms of that physical mindset and running the football, don't overlook Justin Lawrence, particularly with him being plugged in there with Peter Nicastro out of the lineup. The Argos have done a pretty good job running the football and kind of imposing their will at the line of scrimmage so far. You've got to be, when you're them, happy that things are working out the way that you envisioned.
Well, with the help of the guys up front, Andrew Harris has certainly made an impression in his first Argos start with 40 on the ground in that quarter, 17 in the air, so 57 combined for Andrew Harris so far. Second quarter begins, 4-3 lead, Alouettes trailing by 1, but Jesh Renantwi with that carry on first down and picks up a few more yards. The Alouettes struck a deal with Edmonton to get Walter Fletcher, another running back, but for now it is Jesh Renantwi, and we have no idea how long, at least a good chunk of this season, William Stanback will be out with that fractured ankle. He was put on the 6th game, but Antwi is getting a chance to show what he can do at running back for the Montreal Alouettes. So the 2nd and 7 down from the 43. Little movement in the Argo defensive line. Adams to the right, complete, Reggie White. And midfield and a first down. That's their first 2nd down conversion of this game.
Reggie White, who joined this lineup partway through last season after B.J. Cunningham went down for the Owls. Right at them with another big target. That's one of the things when you look at this Alouettes receiving corps. You know, with guys like Wenicky and Eugene Lewis, there's some length, some height to this group.
White had 4 catches for 51 last week in Calgary on the 1st and 10. Dumping it off for Antwi, a little low, but couldn't get his hands on it, so that falls incomplete.
And no hesitation, obviously, to try and get the ball into the hands of Jesh Renantwi. And it was interesting to talk to Kahari Jones about him this week, and we asked about, was there a point in training camp last year where there was something in particular that he did that sort of made you take notice of this guy? And he said, there were just plays where he didn't realize Antwi was in, and it looked a lot like Stanback in terms of the physicality of play and so on.
2nd and 10. under pressure. Adams escapes, but not for long. Shane Ray takes him down, sacks him back at the Alouette 50. A loss of 3.
Yeah, and this is something that the Toronto Argonauts expected to see a lot of last year. As you see Shane Ray, number 5, coming from his defensive end spot. Ray had a terrific training camp last year, and the Argos thought he was going to provide a real boost to their pass rush, but he just battled injuries throughout the year. Really couldn't get more than a game or 2 at a time. It looks good here to start 2022.
Call that a loss of 5, actually, and finding it away is Joseph Zima. Back for Leake, right near the sideline. Javon Leake, after a punt of 48 yards, keeps working to break loose and pick up a few more yards there. A 15-yard return up around the 27th. Shane Ray with the sack. The Argos with the ball in a 1-point lead. 55th anniversary of Friday Night Football. Another one for you tomorrow in the rematch between the Blue Bombers and the Red Blacks in Ottawa after that game that had such a close finish. It was nearly there for Ottawa against the 2-time defending Grey Cup champions. Willie Jefferson, Jeremiah Masoli. Friday Night Football on TSN, 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific.
And I suspect the Red Blacks are champing at the bit for that rematch, knowing that they missed an opportunity in the peg last week.
You bet. Very close. For all the talk of Andrew Harris, Brady. Oh, we got Chris Aki in a full-on fight here. Dejon Allen is the right tackle in the mix there with Chris Aki. Trey Watson, their middle linebacker.
Yeah, Watson was kind of in the middle of this as it started. You know, and it looked like an Argo player maybe tried to go low on him with the block. You know, and at live speed, I'm not sure whether it was intentional, if he was just trying to get his leg free. But Watson, it came off looking as if he kind of stomped one of the Toronto players. So there you see the 2 players go to the ground, and keep an eye on Watson as they come up.
So initially, Watson and Dejon Allen and Aki coming into it later, and then this. Several flags are down, as you can well imagine. They're still sorting this out.
There's nothing wrong with a little rivalry.
And it's hot out, too. That's
you think
exacerbate things.
A little irritable down there?
Well, you get up in the, you're 32, feels like 34 Celsius down there.
Hey, week 2 is not too early for the intensity to get cranked up, my friend.
Tempers getting hot. Head coach Ryan Dinwiddie in his second year.
We have 3 penalties on the play. We have 2 player misconduct disqualification penalties. Number 59, Toronto, and number 33, Montreal. We also have an unnecessary roughness player misconduct foul on number 21, Montreal. The difference is 15 yards. It'll be a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down, Toronto.
Wow, Trey Watson's upset. Dejon Allen of the Argos just threw his helmet as well. Both of them ejected from this game as Barron Miles tries to settle Watson down.
Well, and this will be interesting, because for me, in the live look that we had, it looked as if Watson kind of stomped Dejon Allen, and I think that's what the officials saw. But I'm not sure that it wasn't a case of Allen being on his legs and Watson just trying to get free when he gets up here. Like right there, it looked like there was a stomp with the right foot. And you could see the official coming in from the sideline over here was looking right at that. And I think that's what he saw, and that's what led to the disqualification for Trey Watson.
And then you see Chris Aki come in later and push Allen, and there was his look of frustration as he puts his helmet down, and he is out of this game. Aki is not. It is a 15-yard penalty, but He too penalized for reacting afterwards on Dejan Allen, the right tackle, out of the game for the Argos. Trey Watson, middle linebacker for Montreal, also out of this football game. The fake to Harris, looking to the right. It is Gittens, Curly Gittens, with his second catch of the night.
So with Dejan Allen out of the lineup, that'll bring in 2019 #1 overall pick Shane Richards, Calgary native out of Oklahoma State. Made some starts at guard last year, but he'll come in at the tackle spot in place of Allen.
And Brian Haralamana, number 0, is in at middle linebacker in place of Watson. 2nd and 4. Toronto 49 over the middle, complete. Markeith Ambles, but a flag is down in the Argos backfield. That would stand as a big first down around the Montreal 40 for Toronto.
Holding, Toronto number 53. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Would stand, but no. Ex-Alouette Philip Blake of the Argos is penalized for the hold, so that pushes Toronto further back.
Yeah, and keeping an eye on Blake here from his guard spot. Just lost the edge on his man a little bit and turned into a bit of a wrestling match with Mike Moore.
2nd and 14 at the Toronto 39. Second quarter, Argos up by a point, 4-3 for Montreal with Aki blitzing. The pressure is there, and Michael Wakefield among those to wrap him up. Also Avery Ellis coming in too to take care of McLeod Bethel Thompson and force the Argos to kick it away.
Certainly some depth in the interior in that defensive line for Montreal. You've got that rotation of Armando Sewell, Mike Wakefield, and Michael Moore. You'll see Chris Aki coming off the edge. Wakefield on the loop. Looks like Nick Usher got in there as well.
Chandler Worthy back to receive this punt for Montreal. John Haggerty, newcomer, to kick it away from the Toronto 20. And Worthy, after a good punt, takes it from his 20. A punt of 57 yards, but a good return here for Chandler Worthy against his old team. Another flag down up across the 40. 23-yard return. Wakefield and Ellis celebrating getting to Bethel Thompson. 4-3, 7-11 Thursday Night Football. Vernon Adams is out of the game for now, at least. The Alouettes making a quarterback change. Kahari Jones is going with Trevor Harris. Adams 2 for 4, 14 yards. Very little offense from the Alouettes. Surprised?
Yeah, I am a little surprised, obviously, to have this happen in week 2 and in the second quarter of the football game. But at the same time, you've got Trevor Harris, whether you're looking to have him provide a bit of a spark offensively, not getting any help on that one. But if you're looking for him to provide a spark, or if you're just looking for him to get in for a series or two and give Vernon Adams a chance to try and see some things, time will tell exactly what the game plan is.
Well, he had Eugene Lewis, but Lewis couldn't hang on. It would have been close to an Alouette first down. Harris played in only 4 regular season games with the Owls after coming over from Edmonton last year. Had 8 touchdown passes, only 2 picked off. Started for them in the playoff game as well. Flags out. Harris gets away. A deep ball with an open Lewis, who has it up near midfield. But as mentioned, the flag right back in behind the line of scrimmage. A pass of 39, Harris to Eugene Lewis.
Offside, Montreal number 1. The 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
And in disbelief is Kahari Jones. Herji Mayala is called in the offside.
Yeah, I wonder if he lined up offside on the play. Keep an eye on Mayala. It's actually your number 2 receiver there coming out of the slot. And yeah, out a little bit early. That big play is going to come back.
So it goes to 2nd and 15 with the offside. And Robertson Daniel, their starting boundary corner, is the injured Argo down. Back closer to midfield. So Kahari Jones with Trevor Harris there is letting an official know how he feels. Another penalty hurting Montreal in this game. Let's go down to Matthew now with more on Trevor Harris. Matt.
Yeah, Rod, I spoke to Trevor Harris about this in the preseason, what his mind was like knowing that he's been a starter in this league, been a playoff quarterback, has won Grey Cups in Toronto and Ottawa. And he said, mentally, I'm preparing as if I could go in at any moment. Now, he didn't tip me off to what we just saw, but the fact is, he said, I'll support Vernon, but I still consider myself a starting quarterback. Obvious surprise down here, but Vernon Adams Jr. is being supportive of Trevor Harris. Obviously not standing next to Kahari Jones right now. He's listening to plays coming in, but no obvious emotion on DA space, guys.
Well, it's an interesting situation, Matthew, thank you, that Kahari Jones does have with 2 quarterbacks, really 3 if you count Dominic Davis, but 2 experienced starting QBs in Harris and Vernon Adams. But
yeah, a team really with as much, frankly, more experience than any team in the league at the quarterback position with those 3 guys. You know, and I'm sure there is an element of this that is simply about maximizing your assets as well, right? You've got a Trevor Harris, and if you feel like something's not going in your offense, you have another legitimate option there at the quarterback position to try and get a little bit of a jump start.
Robertson Daniel, starting corner for the Argos, needing help to get off the field. He played, because of injuries, only 2 games with the Argos his first season with Toronto in 2021. Before that, he'd been with the Calgary Stampeders in 2019. So now at corner, rookie Caleb Holden out of Merrimack College in Massachusetts, starting at corner. In place of Daniel, 2nd and 15. Harris from his end zone under pressure gets away, dumps it off, completes to Antwerp, and a first down. Not quite, just shy, excuse me. He gets it up and gives them better yardage for a punting situation. Still deep in their own zone as Joseph Zima comes out.
Yeah, a couple of self-inflicted wounds for the Montreal Alouettes on that possession. A drop by Eugene Lewis, followed by an offside call against Hergy Mayala that negated a big gain from Harris to Lewis.
So Zima standing just outside his goal line. And the offensive struggles continue for the Montreal Alouettes. Total net yards of 36 here midway through the second quarter. Fielding that punt, Javon Lake took it in midfield, and a flag is down. No yards, gets it inside the Alouette 50.
No yards. Montreal, number 6. 15-yard penalty. First down, Toronto.
That one's pretty close, but Darius Pickett ruled to be just inside that 5-yard radius.
And they're all 15 yards now, whether he caught it, but even if it hopped, it would still be a 15-yard penalty as it goes down to the Montreal 42. So not much going the Alouettes' way right now, and yet it is still a 1-point game. The net of 27 yards after the punt and the penalty, and the handoff there to Andrew Harris. But a very busy start of the game, cooling off a little bit now.
Yeah, I like the backfield action there, bringing Brandon Banks across the formation, showing potential receiver sweep to him, because what you're trying to do is get those end players to widen out, respecting the speed of Banks, trying to defend him, loosen things up in the middle. and create a gap inside for Andrew Harris coming later to take that handoff.
He has 1 catch for 3 yards as an Argo in this game so far. Bethel Thompson heading to the end zone for Gittins. Coverage there by Mike Jones, and a flag comes out in the Montreal end zone.
Well, fingers pointing in both directions there as a couple of flags were thrown in the area of that ball.
They're coming back looking like offensive pass interference, judging by the reactions. With Gittins working on Jones.
Toronto, number 19. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Here you'll see Curly Gittins heading for that corner of the field. Mike Jones well positioned. You see the hands come up on the back, trying to push the defender out of the way as he tries to get inside position. Watch the position of the official here, perfectly placed to see this one and make the call.
So it pushes the Argos 10 yards further back to the Montreal 48 now, and 2nd down. And that one, heading to no one, falls incomplete. And now a 3rd down situation for Toronto, still with just that 1-point lead. That was the first 2-and-out technically for the Argos in this game. And John Haggerty, the punter, is in to kick it back and try to keep hemming the Alouettes deep in their own zone. Just a low kick, trying to get it out of bounds before it goes in, but he can't again. So Worthy finally takes a knee and give the Argos another rouge and a 2-point lead with Trevor Harris at quarterback for Montreal. Turn of the Emmy-winning series critics call inspired and tremendously entertaining. Westworld, an HBO original. New season, Sunday, June 26th, only on Crave. Back at BMO Field in Toronto, Trevor Harris in. Kahari Jones pulling Vernon Adams out of this game. You see him in conversation with quarterbacks coach Anthony Calvillo, the legend. Harris, 2nd possession for him, nearly intercepted, but it is caught by Reggie White. A chance for the Argos there. Robert Priester coming across.
You talk about threading the needle. It doesn't get much closer than this for Robert Priester, the nickel linebacker for Toronto.
So Reggie White gets them near 1st down yardage, a gain of 9. They're up to their 49. And despite really the Argos dominating this first half, Montreal's only down 1. Dominic Davis in short yardage goes to his right and then kicks it up across the 50 and should have a 1st down for the Alouettes. Just the 3rd 1st down for the Alouettes. So glass half full, glass half empty. How are you going to analyze this?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? When you're the Montreal Alouettes, you know you have not come close to playing your best football yet, and you're only down by 2 with 5 minutes to go in the first half of this football game. So I think there's definitely some glass half full thinking here.
They had a more explosive start, to be sure, last week in Calgary. Harris with time. Sends it deep into coverage. Wanted Eugene Lewis. A couple of Argos were there in Caleb Holden and Shaq Richardson. Incomplete.
Well, Richardson, kind of the veteran leader in that secondary, coming over to help out on the play. Very nearly coming up with his first pick of the season. The Argos definitely aware of giving Eugene Lewis a little extra attention.
Under 5 minutes to go until halftime. Harris back to the right side. That time Lewis is open and still going until Holden finally pushes him out. But a big gain for the Alouettes of 42 yards. Trevor Harris to Gino Lewis, and Montreal's in business inside the Argo 20.
And Trevor Harris does a nice job dropping this one in. Places it perfectly in that window down the sidelines, allowing Eugene Lewis to just run underneath it. You know, and like the play by Lewis as well, where he could have gone for the over-the-shoulder catch, but catches it up high.
That gain of 42, until that play, their net offense was 46, so they nearly doubled it on that one play. Harris to Lewis, swinging it out, swinging it too far. Deshaun Amos took it off the hop, but that one intended for Chandler Worthy.
Yeah, Chandler Worthy is the guy best known as a receiver, a little bit as a return guy through his first few seasons in the Canadian Football League with the Toronto Argonauts. But Kahari Jones asked him when he arrived in Montreal during training camp, have you ever played running back? He said, well, that was actually my original position. He's a guy who got moved to receiver. So he's kind of the backup running back to Jeshurun Antwi this week for Montreal. We'll look to see if they come up with a few creative ways to get Worthy the ball.
Second down from the Argo 18. It's as deep as Montreal's gone, and they get a little deeper to Antwi. The ball came out, and it is Chris Schlugger, the left tackle, who falls on it, as Antwi is still down after taking a hit and a catch shy of a first down. Field goal situation as their unit comes out for Montreal.
Yeah, you could sort of see this one in slow motion as Antwi had his back completely turned. He's catching the ball. He gets rocked as the ball arrives.
Winton McManus, another of the former Stampeders, now with the Argos on that defense. Weak side linebacker with the hit. And an Alouette is down. That is Jeshurun Antwi. Still getting some attention. They lost William Stanback last week before halftime, and Antwi came in and had a remarkable run shortly after that. Ended up getting nearly 100 yards rushing.
Well, and you hope this is just a case of getting winded a little bit as McManus put that shoulder right in the gut of the former University of Calgary running back.
Danny Machocha, the general manager of the Montreal Alouettes. And Antwi does get off under his own power. A good sign to see as David Cote is out with the ball to be spotted just outside the 25. We'll see if he can go 2 for 2 and give the Alouettes the lead, if you can believe it, with under 4 minutes till halftime. And Cote does just that. And the Argos must be wondering, when they have certainly had the better of the play so far in this first half, but not been able to cash in, and a couple of field goals for Montreal, they lead it by 1. A Hall of Famer for carrying the ball, but there's more than that. Blocking, too, what really impressed head coach Ryan Dinwiddie.
He's yelling out stuff for the O-line from there, and I've never had a running back do that. It's telling the O-line kind of what's coming. So it's great having him there. He's been a great sounding board. But you know, most running backs don't take pride in their protections. They say they do, but they truly don't. So they know who to block and how to block them sometimes. But Andrew understands the whole offense and the whole procedure, everything. So I knew he was sharp. I heard that from other guys, but it was pretty neat to see firsthand.
First down throwing, Rodney Randall is in on the coverage on Brandon Banks. That falls incomplete. But yeah, high praise for Andrew Harris, and in an area, Dwayne, that you don't often hear about when you're used to, hearing about all the yards that he racks up carrying the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the numbers that Andrew Harris has generated. But as I talked about in the pregame, one of the big numbers with Andrew Harris is the way the team's sacks allowed go down when he's in the lineup. Because it's not just him looking after his own assignments, but he can kind of clean up some other people's mistakes as well.
On the second down play, there's Brandon Banks. Best play as an Argo in this debut. A gain of 21 yards, catching it right around first down yardage, making a nice move to pick up a lot after the catch.
Yeah, and you're going to watch Andrew Harris come across here as Chris Aki, number 21, weak side linebacker, comes on the blitz. And as if on cue, Andrew Harris with a great blitz pickup, stepping up to meet his man in the hole. And again, it's that recognition and anticipation. He knows what's coming and where it's coming and gets himself in the right position.
Inside the Alouette 50, Harris with the ball, head down, north-south, and driving down. As the clock is now under 3 minutes, should be the 3-minute warning. It is. After picking up 3 more yards, a 2nd and 7. The Alouettes leading by a point.
And Adams struggles. The Argos defense. We're going to find a few more things. And Milt just informed me he prefers Sarah Orlesky as a host than myself. So I think we're going to fly in Sarah Orlesky because, she hasn't done a lot.
That's funny.
Yes, Kate, she racked up the air mileage last week. Winnipeg and Calgary and Saskatchewan. Oh, what a takedown, and the ball comes loose. Nick Usher coming in. Armando Sewell there too, and McLeod Bethel Thompson quickly put in the sack, taken down, and it is a Montreal football. A turnover here for the Alouettes.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 10. Nick Usher comes free off the edge and lowers the boom. Just driving right into the chest plate of McLeod Bethel Thompson there. Just knock that ball free.
That developed quickly for Bethel Thompson, going back, hit hard by Usher, losing the ball. Armando Sewell recovered it. And so Montreal looking to take the lead at halftime, and maybe a chance to add to that 1-point lead as they start at their 53. Trevor Harris had a big one to Eugene Lewis last drive. Dumps it over the middle to Lewis. A flag is down. And Eugene Lewis is down just shy or around the 45 of the Argos, and what would be a first down. Gain of 12. Pending the outcome of the flag.
Montreal number 54. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Will go against your left tackle, Chris Schlugger. He's working against the Wilfrid Laurier product, Robbie Smith, on this one.
Penalties have certainly hurt these offenses. The Alouettes hurt that time at their first 10 yards further back. Nice catch by Reggie White. Just shy of midfield, so gaining just most of the penalty yardage back, and a second down around 10. Actually gave him 12 yards on that, so a 2nd and 8.
You see Reggie White go to work against Shaq Richardson. Nice placement of the ball to the outside there. Good turn, yeah, nonetheless. 12-yard gain, and you're still in 2nd and long.
Right from midfield. Just over 2 minutes left, and they get to him. Shane Ray is in there on Trevor Harris. And not a fumble, a forward pass, but Ray has had a couple of big plays for that Argo defense in this half.
Yeah, Ray coming off that edge on the right side of the defense. Should dip the shoulder there to get underneath Schlugger. Just as Trevor Harris goes to throw that football, Ray gets on his arm, impacting the trajectory of that one. It's ruled an incomplete forward pass, not a fumble.
This my shit. Don't get it twisted.
Joseph Zima to Javon Lee. A nice catch on the run and escorted out of bounds by Kerfella Exime, special teams specialist, after a punt of 47 yards. Kate Burness, Milt Stegall, Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan. I understand Chezzy was calling for 20 sacks this season for Shane Ray, assuming he stays healthy, which he wasn't able to do last year. But I misunderstood. It was Shane that told Davis. I could see Chezzy predicting that, though.
Well, Chez has been known to make the odd bold prediction.
Chez has all sorts of interesting little predictions. We'll be talking about some of these numbers, too, at the half, along with Maddie and Milt and Kate. Curly Gittens across the 25. Around the 28 and a first down late in this first half. 1:48 on the clock. A gain of 12.
Yeah, pretty good execution of the hitch screen here by the Toronto Argonauts. Good protection on the interior, but you'll see how the receivers make their blocks on the outside. O-line comes with the kickouts to create a running lane for Gittens.
This time throwing it off to Cam Phillips on the catch and just beyond the 30, just a couple of yards there. Phillips playing in just one game last year against Edmonton, had a couple of catches and getting the start at slot back, one of the slot back positions. His defensive coordinator for Montreal, Baron Miles, looks on.
Yeah, Baron Miles, Hall of Fame defensive back in the Canadian Football League.
2nd and 7. Argo 31. McLeod Bethel Thompson completes that one to Gittens again, who gets up across the 40 and another first down. 1:20 on the clock. Lots of time for the Argos to drive at the very least into field goal position to take the lead at halftime.
And you'll see Gittens here. Quick release to the inside.
Bethel Thompson working tempo. Flag comes out. He gets it to Andrew Harris and works his way up across the Argo 45.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. Montreal, number 44. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
They get Mike Moore, the new Alouette, coming over from Edmonton this year for the roughing the passer, and that'll certainly help the cause of the Argo offense cross midfield to the Montreal 44 or 49.
And you'll see McLeod Bethel Thompson gets ear hold by Mike Moore as he throws that football.
100 yards and penalties for the Alouettes. We're not even at halftime. Andrew Harris now. And Moore is involved there in taking him down as he gets across the 45 down to around that 44 and a gain of just under 5 yards for the Argos.
The Argos are going to pick up the pace here on offense.
Bethel Thompson. Over the middle again and complete again. Markeith Ambles. His biggest play as an Argo as he gets it down around the 15, a gain of 30. And here comes Toronto as halftime beckons.
Yeah, nice quick hitter here with Markeith Ambles coming across the formation. Finds the seam to turn that north-south.
Taking to Harris. Dumping this one on. Ambles again, but a flag comes out again. And we've seen a lot of those in this first half.
Holding Toronto, number 80. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Well, Devaris Daniels called on that, so pushes the Argos further back 38 seconds. Still easily in field goal range at the 25, but a 1st and 20 now.
So here you see Davaris Daniels. Getting set up. He knows what's coming behind him with this, basically that toss to Markeith Amble. So he's trying to get himself set up to block, but ends up grabbing outside the frame.
Swinging it out to Andrew Harris to the left on that 1st and 20. Picks up 3 yards. 32 seconds to go until halftime.
No doubt with the ups and downs they've experienced in the first half of this football game, the Argos would like to leave on a positive note by finding the end zone here.
Bethel Thompson looking a little shy and down to the 5, incomplete. Looking for Gittins. Mike Jones is there on him, so it is a 3rd down. And at the very least, they do have a chance to retake their slim lead. No touchdown, but a field goal try as Boris Beatty comes out. In a very low-scoring Thursday night game here at BMO Field in Toronto. 19 seconds until halftime. As John Haggerty, the punter and the holder on the placements, will put it down around the Montreal 29 for Boris Beatty. Started his career with the Alouettes. Moved over to Toronto last year. Up and through. "15 seconds to go, and the Argos lead by 2. It's Hall of Fame weekend for the class of 20 and 21, and what wonderful classes, including that man, 96 years of age. Marv Levy, the former Montreal Alouettes head coach, will go in that class of 2021. But Henry Burris, our former colleague in that group, a couple of you got an ex-teammate in there as well, Dwayne Ford.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've reached that age. I look at those 2 classes: Henry Burris, Freddie Childress, Will Johnson, Donnie Wilson, 4 former teammates of mine going in. So congratulations to them and all of the inductees, classes of 20 and 21.
Absolutely. So time running out. Down to 10 seconds, Eugene Lewis. That includes the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Orlando Steinauer, who has a game to worry about with the Stampeders. Will be there in a couple of days, but also getting recognition for that tremendous playing career that he has.
Yeah, absolutely. Well-deserved honor there for O. Proven to be not a bad coach either, by the way.
Coach of the year in his first year in 2019 when they went 15-3 and almost got it done. Got to the Grey Cup both years. Harris intercepted. McFadden and takes out a cameraman.
Gets out with 1 second left on the clock and an opportunity.
With 1 second left and easily into field goal range, the Argos are going to have a chance here to put 3 more on the board. Tavares McFadden, newcomer for the Argos, getting the start and getting the interception here.
Looked like the Harris and his receivers may have gotten their wires crossed there. Because there was really nobody in the vicinity of that throw.
Well, this could be a 3-point bonus for an Argo team that has every reason to think it should have had more points in this first 30 minutes. Final play, first half, Boris Beatty, about 38 yards away. 3 more, making a 5-point lead for Ryan Dinwiddie and the Double Blue. And they'll certainly take it the way this game has gone right now. Low scoring indeed. Argos up in their home opener. Let's go back to Kate Burness. A rough first half for the Montreal Alouettes that includes a quarterback change, but they're still within a score, down 11-6. Here's Matthew Shinetti now with Eugene Lewis.
Gino, how surprised were you there was a quarterback change?
Not even worried about it. Go out there, man. You got to adjust to the game. Trust me, I've been in this situation a few times. 2018, I had about 8 starting quarterbacks. So, like I said, Trev, he supports VA just like VA supports Trev, and then we just go out there as a team.
How do we stretch the field then in the second half?
Say it again?
How do you stretch the field then in the second half? How do you get the offense moving, get in the end zone?
It's being more disciplined. We just got to be focused on our job, and everybody just needs to do what they need to do, and we'll be fine.
Thanks, Gino.
All right, thank you.
They talked about the penalties, 100 yards on 8 penalties for the Alouettes. That's hurt. And Trevor Harris did hit Eugene Lewis, their biggest offensive play, for 42 yards. But here we are, Dwayne. I mean, the Argos, the way they moved the ball, could have led by more, even with the 3-point bonus, only leading by 5.
Yeah, and you wonder, for the Argos in particular, if missed opportunities in the first half could come back to haunt them as this game goes on, kind of letting Montreal keep it close when maybe it shouldn't have been.
Well, by the 3-point bonus, I mean, in case you missed the end of the first half, it looked like that would be it. And then late interception thrown by Trevor Harris led to 3 more. And the last play of the game for the Argos, at one point, who had trailed 6-5 in this one. New half. Close game. Gets underway again from David Cote, sending it down to Javon Leake to get the second half underway across the 30. Still on his feet. And Rodney Randall finally hits him out of bounds. Andrew Harris in his Toronto Argonaut debut, and here's a look at what he did in the first half.
Yeah, his very busy Toronto Argonaut debut. Take a look at some of his first half work, a few physical runs. I think that was my favorite. His first catch of the game, dropping the shoulder on the sidelines. Just setting the tone, sending a message, not just to Montreal, but I think to his teammates.
10 carries, 52 yards. More yardage receiving, 2. More yardage rushing right now to start the second half, and a good gain on that first down, getting it up across the 45 for the Argos, who really have not had too much trouble moving the ball, but cashing in has been the problem.
Here you get a nice close-up look, drop you down into the action. You see Harris just accelerate up into that hole, taken off as Nick Usher was in pursuit there.
Spot the ball to the 46. It is a second and short. Call it 2 yards. Bethel Thompson. Harris again has the 2 and a little bit more as he gets inside or across the 50 of Toronto. And yes, indeed, the sticks move. And Toronto starting well here in the second half.
And Toronto's been so effective running the football, but we haven't necessarily seen them go play action a lot in the pass game just yet. But you got to believe that that opportunity is going to be there.
Up at the Argo 52. This is the start of week 2 in the CFL. And it's game 1 for the Argos. Their season opener here at home. Pressure coming. He gets it away. And he completes it to Markeith Ambles. Another big play to Ambles, who had a couple late in the first half. And Toronto striking quickly, moving down the field. A gain of 37.
Well, McLeod Bethel Thompson ends up taking a hit as he launches this one, but nonetheless, perfect strike to Markeith Ambles, who is establishing himself as something of a go-to guy for McLeod Bethel Thompson. Ambles making his Argo debut, but technically his second stint with the Toronto Argonauts, as he was signed and released by the Argos back in 2016.
Harris the carrier again, and Ambles ended up with Calgary for a few seasons. And last year was second to Kamar Jordan in team receiving. He had 54 catches for 686 yards and a couple of big catches in his Argo debut.
And a nice addition for the Toronto Argos. Guy's taken a little while to find his way. He was seen as one of the top high school receivers in the U.S. when he was being recruited.
Wide open again. Speedy B. Brandon Banks breaks it in, and a touchdown. Toronto Argonauts. There's the debut 16 was looking for. Coming down the QEW from Hamilton.
And you can see from the reactions, his new double blue teammates very happy for Speedy B to get that one in his first game with his new squad.
Another one who goes down as one of the great players in league history for some solid years, at least with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, especially 2019, over 1,500 yards receiving. And before that, he was a great special teamer, great return man, and reinvented his career as a receiver back in 2017. Great year in 19. Now with a new team, Brandon Banks has his first touchdown in double blue as the Argos increase their lead.
So if you take a look on this play in this part of the field, anticipating man coverage, you've kind of got double under routes here, but keep an eye on the corner, Mike Jones, who's the man on the outside receiver, Brandon Banks. As Banks makes that cut to come underneath, Jones blows a tire, and that split second makes a difference as he's scrambling to get inside to where Banks is, as Banks is making a cut back outside, allowing Speedy B to get into the end zone for his first as a Toronto Argonaut.
First touchdown of the season for the Argos as well, as Boris Beatty kicks off to Chandler Worthy inside his 10. The Alouettes now down by 12 as he is taken down, and Trevor Harris comes back out. Took over in the second quarter from Vernon Adams, who was struggling 5 of 11 for 78 yards and an interception. Or excuse me, 2 for 4 for 14. It's Harris that threw that pick late in the first half. Those are his numbers. So he had just 2 for 4 and 14 yards for Vernon Adams before Kahari Jones decided to make the switch.
Yeah, and it's an interesting move. I mean, when I look at the Alouettes coaching staff with Kahari Jones, Anthony Calvillo, obviously I'm going to give these guys, given their history, the benefit of the doubt in terms of how they handle their quarterbacks. But I'm surprised to see the change made so early, given some of the success that we have seen Vernon Adams have over the course of his previous couple seasons as Montreal Alouette.
Trevor Harris going to work quickly on that one to Herji Mayala. A first down for the Owls at their 38. Vernon Adams was injured last season, was already out for the season in October when Montreal made the trade to get Trevor Harris from Edmonton. Movement up front and flags come out. Robert Priestner, the Argos, 23, looked to be one of those. Moving at the line of scrimmage. Flags down, and this is against Toronto.
Offside, Toronto, number 23. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Corey Mace, the new defensive coordinator, coming over from Calgary to the Argos.
Yeah, another one of those familiar faces, and you see just to the right of your screen, Joshua Bell back coaching the Argonaut secondary, another guy with some Calgary roots, joining Ryan Dinwiddie.
There are a lot of Calgary roots on this Argo team, aren't there? I mentioned the secondary earlier, where 4 of the 5 former Stampeders on a 1st and 5 for that offside. Quickly over to Gino Lewis. Out of bounds, gain of 6, and another first down. The drive continues for the Alouettes. Trevor Harris started his career here back in 2012. Got a Grey Cup ring. 3rd in the depth chart behind Ricky Ray and Zach Collaros. Ended up being the starter for a while in 2015 when Ricky Ray was injured for much of that season, and then he signed on with the Ottawa Red Blacks in 2016 as a backup to Henry Burris. Got some playing time there and ultimately became the starter, starting in the Grey Cup for Ottawa in 2018. That one falls incomplete as Deshaun Amos, another one of those Argos with a history in Calgary, has got his hands on his helmet.
Yeah, this is a signing I really like for the Toronto Argonauts this offseason. Deshaun Amos. Really thought he came into his own with Calgary last season.
One of the biggest defensive plays of the year last year against the Argos. Remember that?
Start of the season, yeah.
Ricky Collins was running one, looked like over 80 yards for a touchdown. Amos tracked him down at about the 5 and punched it out into the end zone, denying the Argos of a touchdown. Now he wears double blue. 2nd and 10 from the 49, gets it away. Antwi to midfield. And close, looks like not quite, but very close to another Montreal first down. But you're down by 12. I know it's 3rd quarter, but It is indeed. Dominic Davis coming out, their short yardage quarterback.
Yeah, bringing some of his big friends with him, including Armando Sewell.
We saw Armando in a situation in Ottawa last year, down near the goal line. He came in thinking it was for blocking, and lo and behold, the ball ended up in his hands for his one and only CFL touchdown. Here just to help out, Dominic Davis. As the flag comes out, just with the snap of the ball, and definitely has enough for a first down at the Toronto 50.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if I need someone to push people around.
Montreal defensive line. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down. Sorry, Toronto defensive line. First down, Montreal.
Yeah, Mondo meets the job qualifications.
He certainly does.
Yeah, keep an eye on him here. Motioning up from the backfield and the line. He's just going to be on the backside on this play.
Looks like an experienced running back, too, in this situation. Doesn't get the ball that time, but they do get the first down and then some. And I like those penalties when we're not going to single anyone out. It's a penalty to the entire Argo defensive line. So, to the 47. Montreal needs to do something. Little pump fake down the right. Deeper for Eugene Lewis again. He had him for 42 yards in the first half that helped lead them down to a field goal. That's a gain of 29. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. When it's Eugene Lewis, there's often a big play going his way.
Yeah, and very similar play to that 40-plus yard one that they threw in the first half, where Lewis down the sidelines, basically he's kind of between layers in the coverage. Sitting along that sideline, you can see the corner Holden coming up on him as Shaq Richardson is chasing back to get to him.
Eighth play of the drive in the red zone, handing off to Jess Renantwi. It was 1 or 2, but not much more than that. See Jagarrett Davis in there on the stop, like Brandon Banks, formerly of the rival Hamilton Tiger Cats. And he started his career in Calgary. Never had a season in the CFL, Dwayne, where he hasn't gone to the Grey Cup.
Yeah, pretty impressive run. I know Jagarrett would say he's looking for some more wins. Only one ring so far, but hoping he can add to that here in Toronto.
That first one was right on this field at BMO in 2016. A heartbreaking loss. They were heavily favored against the Red Blacks, Henry Burris and company, and then the next year losing to the Argos before winning in 2018 over Ottawa. And Trevor Harris, who takes off, who gets down to the 10, about the 9-yard line on that 2nd and 9 play, and it is 3rd and short again, down to about a yard.
Big bodies.
Big bodies coming in. They're not thinking field goal here. They're Dominic Davis thinking first down. They're in a game like this, down by 12 points, certainly looms larger.
Yeah, you get into this field position, take the shot to keep the drive going. Worst case scenario, you hopefully get the other team holed up in their own end and get a short field if there's an exchange of possessions here.
This is the 10th play of the drive. Another 3rd down gamble. Dominic Davis, big body quarterback, and used to this situation, pushes his way through, as they do indeed appear to have that first down, a 1st and goal for the Montreal Alouettes.
Nice movement here in the interior of that Montreal offensive line.
We had no touchdowns in the first half. The Argos, to start this second half, went down and got one from Brandon Banks. The Alouettes pressing for their first major score here. Harris looks to the end zone to Lewis, and moving in, Caleb Holden got into this ball game after an injury to Robertson Daniel.
Yeah, you knew this one was going to be close, but Holden getting on the arms of Eugene Lewis to keep him from squeezing that ball. Nice play by the rookie out of Merrimack.
2nd and goal. Pressure's on Harris again. They've got him. Trevor Harris taken down. The blitzing Wynton McManus, the weak side linebacker, ex-Stampeder, comes in and forces the Alouettes to try a field goal.
A big defensive play here for the Toronto Argonauts. Here you see Wynton McManus from his weak side linebacker spot. Just keeps the legs moving on this one. Antwi had good position on him. And McManus reaching around the blocker to get a hand on Harris as he stepped up towards the block.
Joseph Zima will spot the ball on the 18 for David Cote, who puts it through. 3 for 3, Cote. A drive that took over 6 minutes. Not a touchdown, but they do get 3 points closer. How about Canada's Adam Hadwin with the one-shot lead, 4 under par today at the U.S. Open. And tomorrow, second-round action, exclusive coverage right here. TSN, your home for U.S. Open coverage all week long. Tune in 6:45 Eastern, 3:45 Pacific to catch the world's best golfers taking their swing at another major championship. Adam Hadwin, one-shot lead, heading into round 2 on TSN. Pressure on McLeod. Bethel Thompson completes it to Cam Phillips. Gets it away in time. And Phillips, a response drive now to the Alouettes field goal drive, gets it up to midfield.
Yeah, nice quick hitter, as you can see. Things starting to close in on Bethel Thompson a little bit in the pocket, but you're going to see Cam Phillips coming out of the back of this 3-man stack to the wide side of the field. Nice little juke to the inside to get open.
Had just one start with the Argos last year and 2 catches. He has 2 catches on the night. Andrew Harris. And this time they have him all wrapped up. Wes Sutton is there. Chris Aki too, and Elmondo Sewell. And stuffed him for no gain at all, really. And call it a loss of inches here. So call it 2nd and 11. Shy of midfield.
Really the only time you can say that about an Andrew Harris run thus far tonight. He has definitely had the pile moving in his desired direction.
14 carries, 71 yards. Bethel Thompson throws, and he completes another one in tight coverage too. Darius Williams was right there on Tavares Daniels. Daniels hauling it in. And that's a first down, Toronto.
Daniels working out of the slot. They've had he and Brandon Banks frequently in combination here tonight. Banks clearing things out. Daniels on the out. Good catch there with Williams getting a hand in on the play.
Comes up to the Alouette 43. Passing again, and wide open is Gittens on the far side. And a few yards after the catch, too, as he gets it down near the Montreal 20, signaling another first down for the Argonauts.
Argos starting to show another one of those flashes offensively. Nice job by Curly Gittens here after the catch. The juke there on Jones. Pick up a couple extra yards.
We've seen McLeod Bethel Thompson in his career have some big second halves. Numbers now 19 of 25 for 245 and a touchdown pass and a pick. Andrew Harris. Oh, ball comes out. And the Alouettes had a chance, but it looks like it is still Argo football. Recovered there by the right guard, Darius Bladick.
Yeah, let's see if we can see exactly where this one popped out. Yeah, Bladick with his focus just on getting on top of the ball, whereas I think he had a couple Owls defenders wanting to try and scoop and score.
Kind of break Montreal needs right now. Toronto on the move. The toss to Harris, right side. And they string him out nicely, push him out again. Hardly a gain there for Andrew Harris. And Darius Pickett, who had a big one last week in their opener in Calgary with 8 tackles and an interception. And so looking at a field goal situation Now for Boris Beatty, who had a couple of field goals late in the first half. He's 3 for 3. 26-yard attempt to restore the 12-point lead. He put that to the left. In so tight and hooked it. So Boris Beatty misses his first field goal of the season. Just one more on the board. This was a year ago when the Alouettes were in Toronto and Chandler Worthy was an Argonaut. Combined nicely with McLeod, Bethel, Thompson. Worthy, normally a return man, had a good night as a receiver, Dwayne. 4 catches, including that big one for a touchdown and an Argonaut win.
Yeah, one of Chandler Worthy's finest days as a pro.
But the Argos let him go, and Montreal signed him up, and he's been busy tonight in the return game as we got early movement there in the line of scrimmage. Sam Achapong of Toronto bursting through and past the center.
Toronto, number 96. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
But Worthy, shortly after being released by the Argos, the only CFL team he's known, been off and on with Toronto since 2017. And Dwayne talked about it. Kahari Jones, after the injury to William Stanback, and Antwi starts, but he did ask Chandler Worthy if he had any running back experience, and he said he had. So usually a returner he's best known for. Faking to Antwi over the middle, complete to Reggie White. Tucks that ball in again, gets it inside the 45 of the Argos. So you consider the Boris Beatty miss. It is still a 2-score game, but down to just 10 points. If Montreal can find a way to, at the very least, get a field goal and make it a 1-score game into the fourth quarter.
And pretty good start right here with this bullet from Trevor Harris to Reggie White. Into Toronto territory.
This is the last play of the third quarter. Montreal 1st and 10 in Argo territory, swinging it out. It is Chandler Worthy on the receiving end, and a good gain after the catch too. So he gets it down to around the 35. So already in field goal range, but it's a 2nd and short, and they can make it very interesting in the fourth quarter if they can find a way to punch it into the end zone soon in the final 15. Opening night, BMO Field, Andrew Harris debut, Brandon Banks with a touchdown in his Argo debut. Toronto leads by 10. Montreal don't look like they're done yet. 3 quarters here in Toronto, the Argos still lead Montreal by 10 points. We figured a Harris would be a big part of the story of the night. Not just Andrew, though. Trevor Harris coming on for Vernon Adams, Wayne.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find interesting to see is Trevor Harris with the Montreal Alouettes quarterback is Trevor's always been a high percentage guy. They try to get the ball out of his hands quickly, high percentage throws and so on. But with Montreal, this is a team that has been known for pushing the ball down the field, and Trevor has shown that he is more than willing to do that and has done that with a degree of success, particularly hooking up with Eugene Lewis a couple times in this ballgame.
So Vernon Adams pulled in this game for Trevor Harris. Let's go down to Matthew with more on the Alouettes quarterback.
Every time, Rod, that Trevor Harris has gone on the field, what has Vernon Adams done? Well, he's gone, grabbed his helmet, dutifully walked next to Kahari Jones with his clipboard. And the fact is, if you remember Vernon Adams before he became a starter, this was what he was, a very supportive teammate, very conscientious, always in the ear of the coach, the quarterback's coach. It has been subdued here on Montreal's sideline, but no emotions from Vernon Adams Jr., just right there with his clipboard, looking to support Trevor Harris, guys.
Right, Matthew, and as mentioned before, Montreal, they're down. They're not out yet, though. The Argos had difficulty putting this away. Chance for a Beatty field goal that went wide. It's a 10-point game. Dominic Davis keeps it there for first down as Harris comes back in. But Toronto had some good possessions early on in this game and weren't able to finish the drives. I know that's something Ryan Dinwiddie had wanted them to improve upon this year. You consider the way things ended for them after having the lead over Hamilton in the East Final when they got 4 scores. They were all field goals, a 12-0 lead. The Ticats came back, went on to the Grey Cup. But they do have the 10-point lead. And under 15 to go here.
Montreal.
As Trevor Harris walks over to talk things over with Kahari Jones, and really inside the Argo 30, a very critical point, but taking that time out early in this fourth quarter.
And interesting situation as well, as Trevor Harris had just come from the sidelines as Dominic Davis was in for the short yardage play. Maybe sensing that the look wasn't what they anticipated coming back out here on first down.
We talked about Trevor Harris's completion percentage. Even when he'd fallen out of favor with Edmonton, it was around 70%, and it continued to be that in his 4 starts in the regular season for the Alouettes when he came over last October. Along with 8 touchdowns and 2 intercepted. Taking the handoff now. First and 10, steps up, takes off. You don't see him do it off, and he slides down. Trevor Harris picking up 7 or 8. So they mark it down a little further back at the 24. So a little bit longer now. Call it a 2nd and 5. Gets it away, no, for Reggie White. And Priester was right there, but Harris had to get rid of it quickly, so a 3rd down.
So he'll have to settle for a shot at 3 here. I thought on that play Harris might go to his check down. They had his running back, Jeshron Antwi, kind of leaking out towards the flat there. It didn't look like anybody went with him, but as the pocket collapsed, Harris unable to get to that point in his progression.
Ball's put down just shy of the 32 for David Cote. The product of Laval in his 2nd year pumps it through. So it had been a 2-score game, down to the 1 score and a touchdown, 19-12. Toronto hanging on to the lead, but Montreal inches a bit closer. Opening night for the Argos, opening night for Andrew Harris with a new team, 74 on the ground, another 23 through the air. Formula One's Canadian Grand Prix will kick off tomorrow as the world's most elite drivers take to the track in Montreal as they race for another Grand Prix title. TSN, your home for practice, for qualifying, and for the race coverage as well. Catch the action 4:45 Eastern, 1:45 Pacific, only on TSN.
Are you in that?
I am not. I do not believe I would get inside one of those cars, even if I wanted to. McLeod, Bethel Thompson looking deep. And Brandon Banks is the closest receiver. Darius Pickett is there every step of the way.
A little bit of chatter down there from Speedy B. New uniform, same Brandon Banks.
1 touchdown on the night, and Speedy B has it. Coming in the 3rd quarter. Helping to open this game up a little bit for Toronto. But can't feel too comfortable knowing the Alouettes are back within a score. Hanging around. Still under 13 minutes to go, and that one goes to Cam Phillips. That one is a good gain up near midfield. And that is enough for a first down, Toronto.
And Cam Phillips having an impressive 2022 debut, as you mentioned. Played in that late season game against Edmonton. It was the makeup game that had been postponed from earlier in the year, where they squeezed it in the final week.
That was the one COVID postponement in 2021. Yep. The second year out of Virginia Tech. Here's Andrew Harris busting one through the middle. How many times have we seen that in his career? And picking up, say, 7 yards, close to 8. A second and short coming up for Toronto.
Yeah, and this is kind of Andrew Harris time. Argos with the lead in the fourth quarter, get the defense that's been dealing with his physical running style all game. Maybe feeling a little bit worn down at this point.
So a lot of that with Winnipeg. Give it to Harris. Still some clock. There he goes again. And a first down on that second and short. So back-to-back running plays, Andrew Harris. Darius Pickett hits him hard, and he's fired up afterwards.
Yeah, big collision here. You know, and Darius Pickett continues to impress me. This is a guy who, through his couple of years in the league, has played a couple different positions in the secondary. Tonight lining up at the nickel linebacker spot.
Harris can dish it out too, though.
Yeah, oh yeah. No question, that's a pretty good collision right there.
He has over 100 yards from scrimmage now, 87 on the ground to go along with his yardage 23 through the air. Through the air here, Bethel Thompson. They say no catch, and Curly Gittins is pleading his case. They want another look at that.
We'll take a look right along the sideline.
Does that foot get down?
Out of bounds.
It's out of bounds. It's a good call by the officials.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Close, but clearly on the white.
Yeah, and it looked like he drifted out sort of before the defender pushed him out.
So it remains at the Montreal 44 and a 2nd and 10. Andrew Harris, a little attention in the sideline. 4 receivers to the right, looking that way and completing it. Bethel Thompson gets it to Davaris Daniels at about the 40. Shy of a first down, but with the leg of Boris Beatty, certainly within his field goal range. Boris Beatty had 6 field goals of 50 plus. The CFL record is 8 in one season. He had 6 last year, including a 56-yarder. And as has happened to him a few times in his career, sometimes the shorter ones are bigger problems. He missed a short one in the third quarter.
You know, I would wager that with the arrival of punter John Haggerty at 6'5", 225 pounds, this has got to be the first time in Boris Beatty's life that he is not the biggest kicker on the team.
And it's got to be the biggest kicking team if you combine those two by far.
Combined 450 pounds. Beatty 6'4", Haggerty 6'5".
Beatty was 28 of 33 actually, and longest 54, excuse me, but as said, did have 6 remarkable over 50, and the yardage here is certainly inside of that. It'll be closer to about a 45-yard try to see if they can make it a 2-score game again. Chris Aki, veteran weak side linebacker for the Alouettes. Remember, Trey Watson, their middle linebacker, was kicked out of the game much earlier, along with the right tackle for the Argos, DeJohn Allen. So already down a starting linebacker, and Aki is helped off. Field goal try for Boris Beatty, who is 3 for 4. As mentioned, and missed an earlier one, hooked it left on his last try. Veteran long snapper Jake Reinhardt back in the lineup for Toronto, putting it back to Haggerty. It is up, and no, he's missed another one, this time to his right as Chandler Worthy runs around and goes down. So another miss for Boris Beatty, who's 3 of 5 on the night. So just one more point, still a 1-score game. 8-point Argo lead here in the fourth quarter. I mentioned Argos long snapper Jake Reinhardt. This happened last October against Ottawa. At first, thought to be just a dislocated elbow. Turns out he was getting no circulation to his arm. He was sent home. His wife is a nurse, and she said, "You've got to go back to the hospital now." She was right. He nearly lost his left arm. They nearly had to amputate it, and they were able to save it. And here he is all these months later. Julie, his wife, looking on now. How special that must be to see Jake Reinhardt back playing football.
Yeah, definitely a guy who's worked hard to scratch and claw for every bit of his pro career, becoming one of the best long snappers in the league. Great University of Guelph product. He's a terrific linebacker.
Keeping it real?
At Guelph. But has worked very hard at his craft.
I feel like I should tell a joke or something.
You know, the long snappers aren't used to getting the attention, are they? Unless it's a bad snap, which you don't see from him. But that's nice to see him smile and get some attention. That's something he's not used to. So Harris completed that first pass. And here's Gino Lewis. Another one. Another first down, too. Lewis, who's had a big game on the night. A couple of big receptions. That one, yardage after the catch, and a gain of 17 for Eugene Lewis.
Yeah, a little bit different look in getting Harris the ball right off the line. This time we've seen Trevor Harris hit Gino down the sidelines a couple of times earlier on in this ball game. Nice game there for the second consecutive week to open the season. Eugene Lewis has reached the century mark in receiving yards.
Had a big night last week in Calgary. Another one here. Keep them going. Down by 8. Chandler Worthy in the receiving end there. And he gets around Worthy with a big run after the catch for another Alouette first down. Here comes Montreal all of a sudden. And they're down by just a touchdown and a 2-point convert.
Well, we talked a little bit to Kahari Jones about the opportunity to find different ways to get the ball into Chandler Worthy's hands. He kind of likes this guy's skill set. Then you get those kick returners, try to get them the ball in space, and that's exactly what they did there, and let Chandler Worthy go to work.
Gets it down to the Argo 22. Approaching the 8-minute mark, fourth quarter. Jeffrey Antwi, left side, finds some yardage, finds a few more, gets down near the 15, and a solid gain on first down with this impressive Alouette drive. Trevor Harris and company they're knocking on the door.
Antwi continuing to impress in that running back spot. Corey Mace looking for a stop here in his debut as the Argos D coordinator.
Halfway through the final quarter, 8-point Argo lead. Montreal pressing in a huge 2nd and 4. Antwi again. Jeffrey Antwi pushes hard, has the first down, gets it inside the 10. Hard running by Antwi, filling in for William Stanback, and it's a 1st and goal for the Alouettes.
We talked earlier about Kahari Jones sometimes thinking when Antwi was in training camp as a rookie, thinking it was Stanback, and it was because of runs like this. Good, hard, physical, keeping the legs driving, moving the pile. Impressive guy. I talked to his former offensive coordinator at the University of Calgary, Pat Shea, and describes it, Jeffrey Antwi, as a dream to coach.
1st and goal from the 8. The fake, the pressure, they can't get to Harris. Still running around, so he takes off, gets near the end zone. Trevor Harris, he didn't quite make it. He got down to the 1, but all things considered, when the heat was on, he got away, and now they really are on the doorstep on 2nd and goal, just 1 yard away from potentially tying this game.
He's down, wait for it.
Well, in his 10th CFL season, this may be the first time that we have described Trevor Harris as elusive. A couple of nice moves on that run to get the Alouettes in close.
Dominic Davis is in to push it in. And a touchdown for the Montreal Alouettes. They drive right down, and they're now within 2 with a 2-point convert try coming up. Slugger, the celebration. 7 plays, 70 yards in just over 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've been impressed by this Montreal short yardage team as an aside. They are doing a great job moving the line of scrimmage every time out. Very consistent performance by them, extending drives, and in this case, putting points on the board.
just a 2-point conversion away from a tie.
Well, looking for the end zone on a night where touchdown Jake Wieneke has been quiet. See if they look his way.
First time we've heard his name. And looking in for Wieneke, but it is too high, too far. And it remains an Argo lead, but just barely hanging on by 2. Gary Stern, the owner, predicting a decisive Alouette win. They're trailing, but they're closer. This is not over yet at BMO Field. This is Alouettes owner Gary Stern watching Dominic Davis get the touchdown to put them within 2. So it goes to a 2-point conversion try, sensing the possibility of a tie game here in the 4th. And Jake Wieneke, without a catch in this game tonight, the intended target for Trevor Harris, but it goes too far. And back to Gary Stern with his William Stanback jersey on, representing him. And no, close. There's Dominic Davis, though, with the touchdown. But yes, not over yet. 5:24 in the clock. Alouettes kicking off now. And Javon Leak on the return for the Argos to get it up across the 40. McLeod Bethel Thompson, 21 of 29, 265 yards. You see, he's had the touchdown pass, 1 intercepted, 2. Andrew Harris on the sideline. And the run there for the rookie, drafted this year, Dan Adebaboye out of Bryant University in Rhode Island. Andrew Harris will not be back, we're told, and you had talked about on draft night, they had a reason for drafting Adebaboye.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having signed Andrew Harris, going Canadian at that position, you saw the success Winnipeg had with Brady Oliveira, Johnny Augustine as guys behind Andrew Harris, mentored by Andrew Harris.
After the 5-yard carry, and over to Curly Gittins, and it is just shy of a first down around the Argo 50. So this is interesting, and Bethel Thompson is not coming off. Some reinforcements coming in. The fullback, Declan Cross, Isaiah Wright coming in as well for Ryan Dinwiddie on a 3rd down and very short, up close to midfield. Around 4 minutes on the clock. Toronto protecting a 2-point lead in their season opener here at home at BMO Field. And hurdling is Adebaboye for the first down.
Adebaboye just kind of launched himself into the line here. Pick up that first down. This is a guy who I think was the top-rated running back on everybody's board in this 2022 draft class.
15th overall back in early May in the CFL draft. 322. High snap. Banks in the sweep. Across the 50. Up closer to midfield. It'll be 2nd down and long, though, for Toronto. Big 2nd down coming up here. What kind of chance will the Alouettes have to see if they can work their way down for a field goal if the Argos can't convert here?
Since the 3-minute warning.
Turned out to be an interesting night here, closing out. Big finish. 3 minutes to go.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by 7-Eleven, where you get fast 24/7 delivery on game day, including Slurpee drinks.
Back at a warm, muggy night, McLeod Bethel Thompson going to work. Marc-Antoine Duquois jumped that route into Boris Daniels. And now it is 3rd down. That was 2nd down. So Montreal should get the ball back. 2:50 on the clock, still lots of time, and they're only down by 2 points.
Well, big opportunity here. You'll see the second-year free safety, Dequoy, and one of a number of
the punt, and a flag goes
going to shorten
down.
the field.
It will shorten it. That punt by John Haggerty for the Argos, and the new rule is that it has to go out of bounds inside the 15, a punt of just 34. And so this will benefit Montreal.
Yeah, Haggerty was under siege on this one, as it looked like this punt was going to be blocked. A few Alouettes closing in on Haggerty as he kicked this one, and I think that...
Illegal punt out of bounds, 10-yard penalty against Toronto. First down, Montreal.
I think that rush impacted his performance on the kick.
And not that the rule applies in this case because it was not inside the 20, but the rule used to be you got to be inside the 20 if it goes out of bounds in the air. Now it's inside the 15. If it's not, it's a penalty. Montreal benefits from a penalty here. First and 10 from the 34. A field goal would give them the lead. Harris looking deep left, and they get tangled up. And it's Tyson Philpott, the rookie, who's the intended receiver, who wanted a call on Robert Priester.
Yeah, a little pump fake from Trevor Harris here. And a hook and go, and then Philpott blazing downfield. He's got a step on the play. And the argument from Philpott here is that Priester kind of ran through him.
Second and 10. Just shy of the 35. 2:36 on the clock. Harris, more pressure, and that one too high for Lewis. Out of bounds. McFadden's there, so suddenly we got a 3rd and 10, and still 2.5 minutes on the clock here in the fourth quarter.
Well, looks like the Alouettes are leaving their offense out there right now.
They're going for it. So the Alouettes still do have a timeout. How big is this? 2.5. Down by 2. They're going for it, a 3rd and 10 in their own end. The ball game here. Harris. Oh, what a nice catch for a first down by Eugene Lewis. Time and again, 87 comes up with big plays. That one's across midfield, and just a huge first down for Montreal.
Yeah, Eugene Lewis out wide, bottom of your screen on this play. He's going to hang out again along the sidelines. You see him sitting between those two levels, and Trevor Harris finds him yet again. And the way he went up and got that one, pick out the guy with the basketball roots. His dad, Junior, a former pro basketball player.
Still lots of time. 2:20 on the clock, and a 1st and 10. Toronto 51. Reggie White spins. Enoch Mwamba got some of the jersey, but he pulls away from that and looks like he has another Alouette first down.
Yeah, Reggie White made a couple of nice plays after the catch here tonight. He doesn't need that whole t-shirt. He exchanges the bottom of the shirt for a few extra yards and a first down, well, 2nd and short.
I was going to say, it's just inches shy of a first down by Reggie White. Now, if you're the Alouettes, you have to start thinking about killing the clock as they get closer to field goal range.
Yeah.
They have it to the Toronto 41. And first, get the first down. Dominic Davis in there again. He scored a touchdown for Montreal earlier in the quarter. Trevor Harris coming back out, 1:52 to go. Despite the way this game has played for Montreal especially, all the penalties in the first half, the change at quarterback, they have a chance to win it. 1:52, down by 2. They can grind the clock right down for David Coe Cote to come out. As it stands now, it would take about a 45-yard kick, wanting to work it closer, of course. Off for Lewis. And he is taken down after just a couple of yards. It's Caleb Holden on the coverage.
Yeah, for Montreal right now, it's all about protecting the football and protecting the field position. And that's probably about as risky a play as you're going to see, with a chance to get David Cote out there.
So about a yard and a half. Call it 2nd and 8. A long 8 for Montreal. Their second game. They lost a dramatic one in Calgary by a field goal, 30-27, last Thursday night. And this game is boiling down to a field goal try as well by the looks of things. Harris with time over the middle and wide open. Hergy Mayala with his biggest catch as an Alouette, coming over as a free agent from the Calgary Stampeders. And Mayala has Montreal now down to the Toronto 16, a gain of 21.
Yeah, you'll see Mayala here working towards the middle. He's got a big cushion.
Timeout, Toronto.
You see a number of Argonaut defenders around him, but nobody with him, as he found that soft spot perfectly. Gutsy throw from Trevor Harris.
Sure is. 17 of 29, 249 coming off the bench in the first half. Actually make that 270 yards passing now, after Kahari Jones went with the change after Vernon Adams had a slow start. And Harris has been leading the Alouettes back, on the verge of taking the lead with only 1:09 to go here in the fourth quarter. The Alouettes had 4 first downs in the first half. They have 15 first downs in this second half. Dominic Davis was in, heads off. The Argos, of course, needing to take the timeout. The clock their enemy now, with Montreal certainly in Cote's field goal range now to take the lead, and 1:09 on the clock. What a finish we have here at BMO. Opening night for the Argos. Montreal threatening, handing off Antwerp. Looks like he's going to lose yards. He fights his way. Enoch Mwamba there to make sure he heads down with nothing more. And actually, it is a loss of about a yard for Antwi and the Owls.
No credit Antwi. Good heads up here, working his way back to the middle of the field, as you're trying to give your kicker the best possible angle on this field goal attempt. Yeah, not as big an issue with the hash marks moving in this year.
9th play of the drive, if they can kill, but 38 seconds off the clock. Leave them with about half a minute. Taking as much as they can. Play clock down to 2. As Harris gets it and gives it back to Antwerp. And he keeps pushing, and he gets it across the 15. Inside, it'd be about a 20-yard try for David Cote to see if he can give Montreal the lead.
And this will now come off the left hash.
The other benefit of the hash marks moving in, I suppose, would be that
a little better angle on those,
better angle for the kicks
field
too.
Goals, yeah. Yeah, and you'll see typically in this situation the holder will set up a little bit towards the middle as well to help with the angle. As there you can see slightly offset.
Under a half minute. Third down, field goal try, David Cote. And this is to put Montreal ahead as the play clock goes down to 0.
Montreal.
And they have that one left, and they do use it.
I've been missing that big, so
Vernon Adams pulled for Trevor Harris, but as Matthew Shinetti talked about, staying active.
The game clock to 18 seconds.
Helping
18 seconds.
Helping Harris and the Alouettes. Gary Stern had predicted a Montreal win. I don't know if he quite predicted it to come this way if it does play out.
Yeah, I don't think Mr. Stern's going to be picky if his team is able to emerge from this one with 2 points.
David Cote is 4 for 4. He was 2 for 3 last week in Calgary. He did have one block. Just outside the 20. Adding a second. That game clock. For the second-year man from Laval, too, to give his team their first win of this young season. Zima puts it down. No, he missed it. He missed it left. And the Argos still lead. This is incredible. When it looked like Montreal had it, David Cote has his first miss of the night.
We'll see if this one gets down cleanly. Zima the holder. Then he spins the laces away. He just hooked it.
Well, you don't need to know how to read lips to understand, just to see the no coming out of Harry Jones' mouth that close. And the Argos can kill the clock now, hanging on to a 1-point lead. Gary Stern again. Can't believe it. They were that close to completing the comeback. 21-yard field goal try goes wide left. And the Alouettes will fall to 0-2. And the Argos, the better team in the first half and through many parts of this game. They had a 12-point lead in the third quarter, but they had trouble putting it away. But they'll take it. They start their new season with a W. Just barely a W. The missed field goal. Missed opportunities really on both sides. But Toronto hangs on. They win their opener 20-19 over the Alouettes. Thanks for watching Thursday Night Football on TSN.